Hello and welcome to my channel. Having acquired this sonic screwdriver kit, it gave me an idea. I decided to modify them and turn it into something different. So this is basically a toy with interchangeable tips, but I want to turn it into something new and more interesting. The original sonic screwdrivers used to be metal with red on the end, and I want to go back to that original idea and have it look more like a tool. So basically the plan is I'm going to modify this and then I'm going to create my own from scratch. But since I don't have a set plan, I kind of make it up as I go along. So the first thing I did, I went and bought a load of pipe, all different sizes, and I cut out a section of the small one, and this slots nicely into the bottom half of the toy screwdriver. Unfortunately it doesn't fit into the top section, but I have an idea how to remedy that. I'm going to cut off a piece of bigger pipe to go over it instead. I just need to widen the inside just a little bit first. And now both tubes easily slot together. And by cutting across into the smaller tube, it allows me to pinch the edges and push it into the top of the sonic screwdriver for extra strength. After sanding all the edges smooth, I give it a test fit. And that works nicely. The middle section is still a little bit long, so I'm going to cut that down to size. And then glue it all together using super glue. By having interlocking parts to help increase the strength. I'm just using that cheap super glue so I can use as much as I want, because if I don't use it now it'll dry out fast. And that's the main section all glued together. Now I just want to add some additional details, and for that I need to have a rummage through my box of PVC scrap. It's always good practice keeping off cuts. That way we don't have to sacrifice a new board. I've cut off this tiny piece to use as a switch. I just need to carve out the inside of it so that it will hug the pipe. As per usual, I attach it with super glue. This time I spray on an accelerator so that it will bond instantly rather than waiting a few seconds. Because in those few seconds it's quite easy to make a mistake and for something to slip out of place. I've also cut out a couple of long strips so I can create some bands, but first I need to heat them up and wrap them around the pipe to retain the shape. Otherwise when you glue it together it will be fighting to escape the bond. As you can see, the top band is now in place, so it's time to add the second one. Then that's the build portion complete for the first sonic screwdriver. For the second one I started from scratch. I did toy with the idea of using the spare end piece, but I discarded that in the end. Now I just need to cut this pipe down to size. By cutting a strip out of this one, I can pinch the end together and push it inside the same size pipe. Like so. I glue it together with some PVC cement. This basically welds the plastic to itself. I used a set of clamps to keep it from opening. The first set was too strong, it was crushing the pipe. But the smaller ones I found worked much better. Then I just put it to one side and left it to set. using this lump of PVC board, I mark out a circle, and this is going to be my end piece. But first of all I need to round it out and make it look a bit neater. And then I basically need to make a plug for it so I can push it into the tube. So using a pencil I mark down how far I want to cut, and then I grind down the excess until eventually it fits into the tube. And that fits like so. Then I dry fit all the pieces together just so I can work out what to do next, because after all I'm making this up as I go along. Right, I think it's time to shape the end cap. I make 4 tapered cuts with my saw, and then I round it out with my Dremel and make it look neat and tidy. Then I can glue that into place and move on to the next piece. Now here you can also see I've made a top piece as well, but I'm going to finish it off a little bit later. For now I'm going to add some bands. Using super glue I add a couple of bands to the midsection. Later on I add a third band, and this is to try and make it look interesting, like it serves a purpose, and not just there to hide my unprofessional cuts. And now it's time to work on the top piece, and this is going to be the focal point for the sonic screwdriver. So for that I need to drill a hole. So I start off by drilling a small hole on both sides, and then using the bigger drill bit I widen both holes until I get the shape I want. It's starting to look like a piece of equipment now. I'm just going to add a switch. And the next step is to add some filler, and this will help hide the joins, and the sculpting tool will help me push it all into place. And once it's dried it just needs sanding. And just to create another piece of interest I drill 3 small holes in the front, and hopefully you can see them in this shot. And that's the build portion complete for both screwdrivers. And before I move on to the painting stage I need to give them both a good sanding, otherwise the paint has nothing to stick to. I kept this scratch built screwdriver fairly simple and sleek, like a precision made tool, rather than a fancy multi-purpose gadget. I want to protect the red plastic at the end of this, so I simply cover it up with some blue tack, and I use my sculpting tool to push it into all the crevices. And now these two are ready to be primed. They're starting to look better already. I've chosen a gunmetal spray paint because that's the one that feels more like steel. Right, I just need to remove the plasticine, then move on to the next stage. There's a little bit of paint missing on here which I need to touch up. I mixed up some red paint and UV resin, and I placed a drop each into the little holes. And to cure it I use a UV torch. I repeat the same process for the focal point on the end. I have to be careful not to miss, otherwise I could ruin the whole screwdriver. Now I add a little bit more resin just to top it up, and I did this only to the rear of the focal point just to make it a little bit different. And now I have to cure it very quickly before anything spills out. I add some panel lining to help bring out some of the detail, and this basically darkens the recesses. And And then after that I dab on the black wash. And this just adds a little bit of grime to make it look like it's been used. And then most of it is dabbed off with a tissue. And then all that is left behind is an uneven coating, which is the look we're going for. To make the edges stick out a little bit, I'm going to dry brush on some silver. This way it'll look a little bit scuffed up and worn. The effects aren't immediately noticeable, but they are there and it does help. And to finish them off, I give them a coat with the matte sealer. And this will help protect the paint from greasy hands. And there you have it, 2 new sonic screwdrivers added to the world of Doctor Who. Which one do you prefer, the modified one or the one built from scratch? And do you agree with my metal colour scheme? Let me know below. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, if I can do it, so can you.